Hello and welcome to Business Reporter's Digital Economy campaign. Multi-factor authentication, or MFA, has become a normal part of online security. These days, it's difficult to access your bank account, make a payment, or even buy a movie ticket without it. And let's be honest, we all hate it. It's often fiddly and frustrating, and yet it keeps our data safe. Or does it? Today, I'm talking to Christopher Harrell, Chief Technology Officer at Yubico, a leading provider of hardware-based phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication. He claims that conventional phone-based MFA isn't immune to phishing attacks and account takeovers. So, is there a safer, more user-friendly alternative? Christopher joins me today to talk about the next step in the online security journey. Multi-factor authentication is ubiquitous, it's easy to use, it's often free, so why do we have to rethink it?
Multi-factor authentication is widely available, but it isn't universally adopted, and not all of it's safe. Attackers trick people into entering multi-factor credentials, and that lets them take over people's online accounts. We think there's a better solution that's safer and easier to use. That's why we created the security key.
What is a security key and how is it used?
A security key is a small device that looks somewhat like a flash drive. You use it by plugging it into a computer and touching it or tapping it to the back of your phone. It helps you set up credentials called FIDO or passkeys with a website that keep you from being tricked into revealing them to another site. A security key like a YubiKey can augment a password as a second factor or can completely replace it for a much safer and usable experience.
And what makes the YubiKey more secure than traditional phone-based MFAs such as push notifications or an SMS?
If you get a notification from your bank that looks suspicious and you go to log in by clicking on it, with traditional MFA, if you're not on the correct site because you weren't perfectly vigilant, you're going to hit approve on the push notification, or you're going to type in the code that comes via SMS because that's what you're expecting to do at that time. YubiKeys work together with your computer to understand what website you're on and ensure that you can't use credentials on the incorrect site, protecting you from phishing attacks. YubiKeys also protect your credentials so that they can't be copied or stolen and live only on that device.
And what if I lose my key? Can it be abused by a stranger?
Most people set up multiple YubiKeys so that they always have an option if they lose their primary. I keep mine on my keychains. And there's usually some kind of account recovery mechanism that's slower and clunkier and less safe. And if you're in an organization, an IT department can help you recover your account. In terms of people stealing and misusing your YubiKey physically, the vast majority of attackers online aren't near you. But for those that are, attackers won't have your PIN or biometric, so they won't be able to take over your accounts.
What does Yubico bring to the table? Did you invent this technology?
We did. One of our founders used to work for a nuclear power plant where they use some of the most advanced security in the world. Our other founder wanted to bring that technology to use for everyone in the world. So we worked with some of the internet's top brands to create a solution that could scale nuclear power plant level security to the internet, and we created the first security key, the YubiKey. We then took that standard to the FIDO Alliance in order to make it available for everyone.
How can users get started? Can I buy one for myself, for example? And what if I want to implement them into a large organization? Where do I get started?
As an individual, you can buy keys on our website, and you can set them up with almost all major internet accounts, including social media, some financial services, and even government accounts. If you're an organization, most identity providers and authentication services have support built in already. We can help you with physical deployment through our subscription services and APIs, and we have the expertise to help you deploy successfully, having worked with almost everyone who's deployed these at scale. If you're an organization that works with people who are at risk, who support free speech or democracy or election security, then we have a program called Secure It Forward, which might be able to help you get keys for your at-risk users for free.
Hackers never stand still, they keep refining their methods. So how do you make YubiKey future-proof?
The standards we've created are designed to solve an entire class of problems and make attackers change not just their tactics, but their whole strategy, making these types of attacks much more expensive and less likely as things are deployed. We're working on our delivery service to make it available in more countries, And we're also making it so that credentials for corporate users can be pre-registered, so that there's no need to set up the key, they just take it out and use it. And finally, we're working on the standards to make them resistant to the potential future attacks from quantum computers, where classical cryptographic algorithms aren't up to the task.
We've talked a lot about the technologies in this interview. Could you give us some key takeaways?
Always use something more than a password, but legacy MFA is clunky and broken. There is a safer way that's easier to use, and that's the YubiKey. So let us help you make attackers' lives much more difficult as we help make the internet a safer place for all.
That was Christopher Harrell from Yubico.